All right, let's talk about the Ducati Streetfighter. Well, forever, this bike has basically been the definition of a wild, untamed machine. It's a superbike with all the bodywork ripped off, just pure, raw aggression. But for 2025, Ducati gave themselves this kind of impossible challenge. Make it even more powerful, even more aggressive, but somehow easier to ride. So how on earth did they do that? Let's break it down.
And I'm not exaggerating here. I mean, listen to Rennie Skaesbrook from Cycle News. He says it's traditionally been Ducati's most bonkers motorcycle. He calls it the bike for people with a bit of an attitude problem. And he's right. It's always been about pure, unfiltered power. So, when Ducati said they were updating it, everyone just braced for it to be even more of a monster.
And a monster it is. We are talking about a claimed 214 horsepower in the European model. Just think about that. That is an insane amount of power with literally no windscreen to hide behind. So the big question, the real puzzle here, is how did the engineers manage to dial up the performance that much while also making the rider feel more confident and in control? Well, the answer comes down to two major things.
Okay, first up, let's look at the skeleton of this beast. Ducati's engineers didn't just make a few small changes, they totally rethought the whole thing, starting with the chassis. And their big idea? It's completely counterintuitive. Yeah, you heard that right. To make the bike easier to ride at the absolute edge, they needed to give the rider more feel. And to do that, they actually had to make the frame and the swing arm softer, more flexible. It sounds crazy, but it's a principle they pulled directly from their top-tier Panigale V4 Superbike. Now this is where it gets really interesting when you see it side by side. The most controversial change, for sure, is ditching Ducati's iconic single-sided swing arm. I know some fans might not love the look, but the new double-sided design is lighter and, more importantly, it's built to flex in very specific ways. You combine that with a front frame that's got 39% less side-to-side stiffness, and suddenly the rider can feel exactly what the tires are doing when the bike is leaned way over in a turn. And the result of that new design, it's huge. They shaved a massive 6.4 pounds off the back of the bike. That's a serious reduction in what we call unsprung weight, basically all the parts not held up by the suspension. And when you have less of that weight, the suspension can react way faster and keep that tire glued to the road, which makes the whole bike feel incredibly light and responsive.
And this chart just spells it out perfectly. The new swing arm has 43% less lateral stiffness. So what does that even mean? Well, it means when you're leaned over hard in a corner and you hit a bump, the swing arm can actually flex sideways just a little bit, helping the tire stay in contact with the asphalt. It's this engineered flex that creates more grip and gives you the confidence to just push it that much harder.
So the new chassis gives you all that mechanical grip and feel, but that's only half the puzzle. The other half is the bike's brand new electronic brain, which is, you guessed it, way smarter and more predictive than ever.
So say hello to the Ducati Vehicle Observer, or DVO. This is basically the master algorithm in charge of all the rider aids. But here's the cool part. Instead of just reacting when a wheel slips or starts to wheelie, the DVO is constantly analyzing how you ride and all the forces on the bike. It's basically learning your style and predicting what you're about to do so it can adjust that safety net in real time.
Honestly, the best way to think about it is like having an AI co-pilot. Older systems just have fixed settings, but the DVO is totally dynamic. It's always number crunching to find that perfect balance between raw performance and safety, which means when the electronics do kick in, they're way smoother and less intrusive, right when you're busy just trying to hang on.
And the DVO is juggling this whole suite of tech you see here. It's managing everything from traction control, the DTC, to wheelie control, slide control, even how smooth the quick shifter feels. The really key thing here isn't just that these systems exist, it's that the DVO links them all together into one seamless, intelligent system. That's what makes that 214 horsepower beast feel so, manageable.
Which of course brings us to the main event, the sheer insane power. All this incredible chassis and electronics tech exists for one single reason, to somehow harness the ridiculous forces coming from that Desmo Sedici Stradale V4 engine.
214 horsepower. Just let that number sink in. This is a naked bike, a street fighter, with power that would have been a dream for a top-of-the-line superbike just a few years ago. It's just wild.
So with all that power, how do you keep the front wheel from pointing at the sky? Aerodynamics. You see those biplane wings?
They're more efficient now, and they generate an incredible 99 pounds of downforce when you're doing 168 miles per hour. That's literally like having a person sitting on the front of your bike, shoving it into the pavement to keep it stable.
And listen, these aren't just numbers on a page. During the press test at the Andalusia circuit in Spain, this thing was hitting 165 miles per hour on the back straight. At that speed, with zero fairing protecting you from the wind, you are feeling every single bit of that raw, brutal force. And I think the Cycle News review just nails it here. It's a physical battle. The bike accelerates so hard that you're just getting faster and faster, exponentially. It's a genuine fight just to hang on, which is, let's be honest, exactly what a street fighter should feel like.
So with this kind of insane performance, you have to ask the question, how does the new Street Fighter really stack up against its biggest rivals? Is this bike truly the king of the super nakeds?
Well, when you just lay the numbers out like this, the story becomes pretty darn clear. The BMW, the Kawi, the Triumph, they are all unbelievably powerful bikes. But the Ducati, it's just playing a different game. It's not just that it has the most power. Look at that last column, the power-to-weight ratio. It's in a completely different universe. At over 1,045 horsepower per ton, it's not just winning the category, it's basically rewriting the rules.
And that's really the big takeaway here. This isn't just another naked bike. This is a full-on Panigale superbike. Same engine, same chassis, same electronics, with just enough stuff stripped off to make it road legal. It's completely blurred the lines and set a new bar for what a naked bike can actually be.
So, the 2025 Street Fighter is faster. It's smarter. It's more powerful than anything that's come before it. It's a motorcycle that is truly pushing the absolute limits of what's possible. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. When bikes get this powerful and this intelligent, you really have to wonder, where can performance possibly go from here?